what clicked for you guys last week offensively?
I thought we had one of our better games executing. I think the run game was a big piece of that, right? Getting that going, getting the ball in the alleys, that opened up stuff inside later in the game. I just thought our guys did a great week in preparation. It really started in Tuesday, right? We had a good Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it was able to come to fruition on the field. I thought the guys did a really nice job leading into the game.
Brent was saying early in the week you guys made a clear decision about this is how we think we can move the ball in this game.
Yeah.
Was that pretty clear to you?
Yeah, I think we've played those guys a bunch of times at different places. That structure of a defense dating back when the bones of it were at Michigan State. So it's a defense that we've known for a while, but I thought just knowing our personnel and where we were and who we're playing with against that structure, I think we always try to early in the week put together a clear vision from a big picture standpoint of how we want to attack the defense. Thought the guys did a really nice job preparing for that, and we were able to put it on the field on Saturday night.
Has that become easier over the weeks? I know you had a certain type of offense with the quarterback, and then you have Grant's injury, you have Ali's injury. Things have changed since the way that you went into the season.
I think you're always learning guys, right? We got a good number of new personnel. We were able to learn those guys over spring and fall camp. I mean, I wouldn't say it's one thing over another. I mean, we knew the guys going into other games as well, and we just didn't execute well or put together the plan we needed. So I think it's a combination of all of it. But yeah, I think there's a piece of that, right? Knowing what you have, knowing how people are going to defend you can certainly open some things up.
What have you liked about how you've seen the offensive line grow over the last few weeks?
Yeah, a lot. I was going to bring that up when Andy was asking that. I mean, I think that's been a big point of growth, right? It's a young group and a relatively inexperienced group other than Parker. You got really everyone either stepping into a starting role or playing a new position. So that piece of it's really starting to go. Caden's getting more comfortable at center. Our left side of the O-line with who we're rotating through there. You've got redshirt freshmen in there. I think those guys have done a nice job. They continue to get a little bit better every week.
You guys ran it 59 times last week. I think it was 30 the previous week. Is that something you just have to do, regardless of whether it's gaining big chunks of yardage? Is that just what this offense needs to do?
You know, I don't know if it's like you have to. I think you want to have balance. And what balance means to me, I think I've said this before, is it means you're able to do what you need to do to win the game, right? If that calls on you to throw it multiple times or run it multiple times, I think when we're able to complement each other, we were able to complement the defense really well, right? The defense was able to complement us really well. We were able to stay in the flow of the game. That's what we want to be able to do. We've talked about getting the run game going, and I think we were able to stick with that, and certainly helped us, right? Opened up some throw game later in the game, helped it become a little bit easier for everyone from that standpoint.
Tyron started 3 games. Has anything he done surprised you, or is this kind of who you expected when you recruited him and brought him in?
You never know until a guy gets into the game, but we've seen him do these things at practice, so I'm super proud of him. The biggest thing that you see is the energy he plays with in the game. We got to get some things cleaned up with that on the offense, but the energy he brings, the leadership he brings, how the guys rally around him because of the way he plays, I think that's something that you really see now that you get him on the field on Saturdays.
There were a couple plays with him. He's kind of stood in there with 2 guys were bearing down on him on the touchdown, the lane, and then looked like he made something happen out of maybe a little confusion on that 4th down play.
Right.
Are you seeing growth in his just sort of decision-making as a passer and sticking in there and making those kind of throws?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's a guy, from a pocket movement standpoint that's capable of doing it all. He's getting more comfortable with the offensive concepts we're putting around him. So I think you couple that with his ability to kind of ad-lib and go off script, it can be pretty dangerous at times, especially off-script quarterback. When they are able to break the pocket, they're going to be a lot better when they know exactly the detail of everything that's going on around them. I'm seeing them grow in that area every week.
What happened on that 4th down? It looked like they kind of jumped.
Talking about the 4th and 1, we're driving right to left from the box.
It looked like he turned to hand it off, and there's nobody there, and they kind of rolled around.
No, it was a roll naked.
Okay.
It's a design, so the back's going out right now. So it's an old school. If you were under center, you'd run a roll naked, reverse out. The back's going the other way. He's first out in the flat. It wasn't a.
It looked like they jumped that guy though, and then he.
They did. They jumped it, but we've got a corner route behind it, overcoming. So there's some other answers. So he was able to get to that, string out the play, and he made a heck of a throw, and guys made a heck of a catch.
Is that a sign of maturity that he gets to that next read on that?
I think so, but that's not the only time he's gotten to a second progression. I wouldn't say that he's a first progression quarterback by any stretch. And any quarterback, you're trying to game plan a pass game around him where you're not moving to the 3rd and 4th progression. But he was able to get to the second option there, and he made a heck of a throw under some duress.
The first couple of games with him, Rutgers, Marshall, were you in a learning process of feeling best at and then put it all together against Pitt?
Yeah, I think you're always learning the guys when they're in the game, but you were able to see growth in really both of those games. Although the results don't indicate that we grew, you were able to see some growth from him as an individual, and I think that better helps you every week put the best plan not only for him but with our offense, with him playing, for us to go out and be more successful.
I think Tootin had 28 touches in
Yeah.
that game. Do you like that number?
I do like that number. He's a guy, I keep a touch chart on the call sheet. He's a guy that we certainly want to get the ball to. There were opportunities in other games that maybe we didn't execute well, but I think just, what you're learning with him, you turn and give him the ball that many times, whether it's pitches, gives, throwing it to him. He's certainly capable. He's really good at breaking tackles, very good in space, good in between the tackles. I think he's got a chance to be a complete back in the ACC.
How much has Daquan Felton evolved since he's gotten here? We've seen he's now able to take guys over the top. He's a guy who can athletic and win 50-50 balls, and seems to have evolved and become better since he's gotten here.
He is. He's been that guy that can go over the top and make the 50-50 catches. Where I'm seeing his evolution grow, and it doesn't always show up in all the targets and catches on the field, is just how much better of a route runner he is. In and out of his breaks, top of his route. For a long guy, that can be difficult to develop at times, but I think that's where he's made the most growth. And when you start doing that, you're a guy that can make 50-50 catches. You're a guy that can stretch the field vertically, but now you start adding more of a route tree to your game. It'll become easier to get him touches in the flow of the game.
You ever played Florida State?
I have when I was a player.
Okay.
Trying to think, player, when I was at Maryland, so I've been down there a couple times.
What do you tell your guys about communication and crowd noise and it's pretty lively atmosphere there?
It is. It's a lively atmosphere. The good thing is we play in a great atmosphere, and the second thing is we keep the music so loud at practice that we make it a lot tougher than the game. So hoping that carries over. But we've got to do a great job communicating. We've got to be loud. We've got to be demonstrative. There's nonverbal communication that goes into it. So we've got to do a great job with that to make sure we have discipline when we go down there and play, don't have legal procedures and all those things. But we've worked that all week in practice. We've preached it. I don't think it's something you make a huge deal out of. You don't overdo it with that, but it's certainly been addressed and will continue to be addressed going into game time because it can get loud down there.
Are you getting sick and tired of hearing the war chant during practice?
I am, and we keep it loud. And it'll be that loud down there, so it's been good for our guys to get immersed in it.
What has been the most impressive thing you've seen from Kyron and just the way he's carried himself?
His preparation. He's unbelievable at preparing in a week. The time that he puts in, the extra meetings he puts in, the extra film time he puts in. And I think he's getting more and more comfortable in his routine every week. When you're a player or a coach, right, you really thrive on having a routine, no different than anyone else. We all do, right? And I think he's figuring out his routine, how to go about his business, but he puts in the time. And when you put in the time, you feel extra confident when you go into the game that it's going to work for you. And I think that's a big piece of some of the success he's had.
You mentioned earlier starting to work guys outside alleys, and that opens up things in the middle later in the game. Was there a point where you said, we got to get Tootin outside, we got to get Thomas outside, even get Jay Lane involved to try to get those guys looking sideline to sideline instead of focusing on the inside zone?
Yeah, and it's something that it doesn't show up in the stat column. It's something we're always cognizant in, right? I'm always cognizant of looking at a formation we've game planned. Okay, do we have a way to attack the boundary alley? Do we have a way to attack the field alley? Do we have a way to attack A-gap out on the right side? Do we have a way to attack A-gap out on the left side, or boundary, if you will? I always think left hash. But we're always cognizant of that, but I think it probably just showed up a little bit more in that game from a rushing standpoint because of some of the things we were doing. We're very cognizant in doing it from RPOs and things. You see swings attached to a lot of things we do. That's a way that we get to it, but those show up in pass yards. But it certainly loosens the defense. I think it gets them running sideline to sideline, and we were able to stay on schedule, right? We were able to have some success on first down. We were able to extend some drives on second and long. We had more manageable third downs. You look back at the previous two games, it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult in the third down if we're in 3rd and 11 plus and we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So I think all of those things played into it. But certainly we're always cognizant of trying to attack. If we're looking at the width of the field, like how can we stress when we game plan all 53 and a third?